So my last tripod was the Joby Gorillapod, in fact, and I thought that would last a long time, and it just gave out on me. It was very disappointing. It was a tough thing to go through. After spending all that money and that time and effort, uh, um, and hoping that it would last, and to have it give up that soon, wasn't a good experience to go through. But hey, you come out stronger, and we're here today, and hopefully I'll find myself a new tripod that will last a little longer, and will be a better fit for me, I think. The Aoka definitely has a unique set of features. It was the first one I saw, in fact. And yeah, initially I thought it might be too small for me, but I thought, why not give it a chance? I was a little bit hesitant because of my experience with the Joby in terms of smaller tripods, but I think the Aoka, given that it's carbon fiber and everything, it's got a unique feature set compared to the other two here. So my hope is that it brings something new to the table that I haven't encountered before. The Leofoto, yes. The first time I saw it, I really liked it right from the get-go. Especially, everything that it came with, the package, the presentation, how quickly it arrived. It seemed like the flashier of all the options, if we want to say that. So, yeah, it looked really promising at first, for sure. It was definitely the one that caught my eye initially. I didn't think it would be a competition after I first saw the Leofoto. The Sirui is interesting. The Sirui, definitely the most practical of the bunch, the most functional. Not the sexiest, I would say, but definitely a very compelling set of features. And if I was just looking at the practicality of it all, I think that would be definitely a top contender. But, there's a certain level of aesthetic that goes into this decision, I think. So we'll see how that plays into the Sirui, but not the sexiest pick, but definitely one of the most practical, I think. The Leofoto was definitely disappointing in the build quality department, I would say, mostly because the twist locks felt grainy almost. They didn't feel super smooth. A couple of them were a little stickier than I would have liked. The center column was definitely not up to par. It was actually difficult to pull apart. And one thing I noticed about the Leofoto once I pulled out the legs is how different the construction was in terms of the little plastic shim that's inside. So that definitely had me worried about the longevity of the Leofoto, because I definitely don't want to go through another scenario like I did with the Joby, right? The whole point of this exercise is to get something a little more long-term and a little more reliable. So on the flip side, though, the Aoka was built super well. Everything felt great. The twist locks were amazing. It's amazingly small. It's super lightweight, easy to carry. And it's great that it comes with the center column so you can extend that height. What I was worried about, though, was the wobbliness of it at the full height extended, because what I'd be using it for at that height, or any of these tripods at that height, is for photos of myself and other people when we're traveling, things like that, right? So you want to be at a good height for people photos, I guess. And in order to get to that good height with the Aoka, it was getting a little wobbly. So it had me a little concerned from that perspective, for sure. So the Sirui did not come with as many nice accessories, or as nice accessories as the Leofoto, I think, which made it a little less sexy initially. That and the more understated look. But I think it felt the best to use of the three, for sure. The twist locks felt really nice. They worked really, really well. They were smooth. There was no stickiness, no issues, which goes along with what I was mentioning before, right, about the practicality. So my initial impressions of the Sirui definitely changed things a little bit. And I think it's definitely climbing up the ladder, so to speak. And the other thing with the Sirui, of course, is when you pull out the leg and you see the plastic shim that we were discussing with the Leofoto before, it's a little bit more substantial, and I feel like it would last a little bit longer. So that's definitely a factor there. The longevity is one of the main selling points for me here, right? In terms of their weight, the Aoka is definitely the slender one of the bunch. It weighs practically nothing. I mean, the Aoka combined with the ball head weighs less than just the tripod legs of the other two, right? So definitely the easiest to carry, and definitely the smallest footprint in the bag. But again, with that comes some trade-offs like the wobbliness we talked about before. Between the Leofoto and the Sirui, the stability was very similar, both being carbon fiber tripods, of course, both being 10-layer carbon fiber construction, same thickness in each of the leg sections. So you have 22 millimeter, you have 19, you have 16, you have 13, you have 10. The last section on both is a little bit wobbly, which had me considering the 4-section version of the Leofoto, so the 225C. Ultimately, I decided against that one and including it here because I figured with the 2 5-section tripods that I have, by simply not extending the last section, I basically get the same functionality as the 4-section tripod, right? So, and the same thickness of sections. So in practical use, yes, it definitely comes down, I think, to the Leofoto and the Sirui. So the Aoka, unfortunately, will be the first one to go. I think the wobbliness was just too much for me to take, and I just don't think that it would be useful enough in enough situations for me to warrant the extra wobbliness, right? It was less expensive, so almost half the price of the other two, and it's definitely easier to carry, but I'm just not sure I would use it as much as the other two, right? So if you're not going to use something, doesn't matter how good of value it is, you're not going to get much out of it, right? So for that reason, I think the Aoka is the first one that has to go. So making the decision between the Leofoto and the Sirui was really tough. I think that the Leofoto, as I've said from the beginning, is definitely the sexiest of the bunch. I really like the way it looks. The aesthetics are great. The carbon fiber pattern is nice. The design of the tripod as a whole is really nice, down to the way the twist lock grips are designed, the color scheme, everything is really well made. It was just the finishing touches that made the usability not as nice as the Sirui, I think. And I think the final decision may come down to those plastic shims because I'm really worried about the durability of one versus the other. When it comes to the Sirui, I think a big part of it is the fact that it's understated in its look. As photographers, we don't want to attract attention when we're out in public, when we're out shooting street photography, for example, in a big city, right? So we don't want to attract that attention necessarily. So the fact that the Sirui is understated may be a hidden benefit a little bit, even though it's not as, I guess, aesthetically appealing, maybe as the Leofoto to some. But yeah, it's definitely grown on me the more I've spent time with it, for sure. So decision time. It's finally come down to the Leofoto and the Sirui, and it's time to make a choice. My choice for my next travel tripod between the Leofoto 225C and the Sirui AM-225 is the Sirui AM-225. Yes, it may not be a surprise. The way I spoke about the Sirui, the more things went along here, but I think it's a great choice. I think the fact that it's understated, the fact that it feels good to use, it provides all the features that I needed without being too bulky or large. It fits entirely in a backpack, which is great. And you have the center column if you need to extend to get that extra height, right? So, you know what? The Sirui just was the total package in the end. And I couldn't find much that I disliked about it, the same way I did with the Aoka and the Leofoto. So I definitely think there's potential here for the Sirui to stick around for a long time, and hopefully it'll work out better than it has in the past for me with this tripod. So that's it for the comparison, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little kind of different video that I shot. I tried to make it a little more interesting instead of just comparing 3 tripods and listing off the specs for everybody. Let me know in the comments down below which one you would have chosen and which one you'd prefer. And if you own any of them, do you like them? Did you have the same issues I did with each one of these 3 tripods? And also let me know if you appreciate this style of video. Maybe I'll explore doing it a little more, a little bachelor action. Maybe the next one will be like Survivor. I don't know. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.